this one night, Jack is coming home at night and walks into the living room to see a bunch of old people sitting around and talking. As he walks in, they all just Number 1. A few years ago, I had to take care of my mentally handicapped cousin. She could get around well enough, but due to severe arthritis in her knees and ankles, she had to be watched, helped into the bath, and shit like that. I would go into her room in the morning, help her to her walker so that she could go to the toilet, and make her breakfast. One morning in particular, I heard the running water in the bathroom. When I went to check in on her, I had to pass her room on the way to the bathroom. When I did, I saw that she was in her rocking chair in the corner, with her blanket over her head, rocking back and forth. "Don't leave the water on. You're going to flood the place," I said. I then went into the bathroom to shut off the faucet. And to my horror, my cousin was there, washing her face. I immediately ran back into the room, but it was just her blanket crumbled up in the rocking chair. My cousin wanted to know why I undid her bed. I didn't stay long after that. Number 2. I have a story that did not happen to me, but rather my friend's dad. This guy is not the type to bullshit, so I believe him 100%. My friend's dad, who we will call Jack, and his brother, who we will call Tom, lived with each other in the 80s. It was just the two of them, living in the house with no one else. So this one night, Jack is coming home at night and walks into the living room to see a bunch of old people sitting around and talking. As he walks in, they all just quiet down and awkwardly look at him as he walks on by. He doesn't see Tom anywhere, so he just assumes that Tom will be back to attend his guests. Jack has work the next morning, so he goes into his room to get some sleep, but is kept up from all the people talking. He walks out from his room and is promptly met up by Tom, who is coming out of his room to tell Jack to keep his friends quiet. However, Jack was coming out to tell Tom to keep his friends quiet. They walk out from the hallway into the living room, only to find it completely empty, with the leftover smell of musk lingering in the air. Number 3. When I was growing up, there was an extra room upstairs in our house which we used as an office. It had a closet with one of those tiny attic access doors on the side. We'd sometimes all be downstairs watching TV, and we'd hear a creaking sound moving towards that room. The room in question happened to be next to mine, and occasionally I'd find the closet door open with the light on, and the little door to the attic cracked open when absolutely no one was about to open it or turn that light on. Not only that, there was a spot on the wall that our cat would always attack. Now our cat has been declawed, but just imagine the amount of effort it must have been to to try and destroy this part of the wall. There was paint missing and clearly a lot of damage, as this cat really didn't like this spot. All of that is creepy enough. But one night, our dog, who never came upstairs without my father, started barking in the hallway by my room towards the office. She barked and growled for a bit, and then began backing away into my room. She kept looking up as if she was staring at the face of a person coming towards her. She backed into my room, then squealed like she'd been stepped on, and ran into the far corner of my door and put her nose and eyes in the corner and whimpered. That was by far the worst incident. I picked her up and went downstairs to sleep on the couch. That was 14 years ago, and I'm still freaked out about it. I know for a fact that there was something in that house. This story didn't actually happen to me personally, but rather to my mother. My mother is a very trustworthy person, who at the time did not believe in the paranormal, but now is a firm believer, and I can't say that I don't blame her. According to my mother, the whole thing happened when I was very young. I don't remember it that well, but apparently I had always had an overactive imagination, and I was often found talking to an imaginary friend. Also, my mum thought it was an imaginary friend. I often referred to him as Jamie. He was apparently my best friend, and she says that I treated him like a brother. I would take food to him, play hide and seek, and everything else that you'd expect two young children to do together. My mother remembers telling me to go play outside, and I said I didn't want to, because I was refusing to leave Jamie alone. Then my mother asked why, and I replied, "The hooded man won't let Jamie outside." This shocked my mother, but she apparently brushed it off to meaningless strings of childhood babble. Her thoughts were broken down though, no more than a few days later. I had left to go to nursery. My dad was at work and my mother was home alone by herself, doing the typical things that mothers do. Apparently, when my mother was taking the laundry up the stairs, she happened to glance down at the middle step and felt her whole body freeze. She told me that she looked and saw a young boy sitting on the step. He was looking at her with a smile and then waved. She apparently nearly dropped the pile of washing that was in her hands and bolted back downstairs. The only part of this story which I actually remember happened when my mother was walking me home from nursery, and when we got home, she knelt down to my height and said, What did you say your little friend looks like?" I don't remember what I said, but I remember my mother turning whiter than white as I described him. This made me confused. I didn't know what was going on. Then it happened. She said one of the eeriest sentences that has stuck in my head ever since. I think I met your little friend." Every now and again, we see, hear, or sense him. Mainly around happy times of the year, birthdays, Christmas, and those kind of things. You can always just tell when he's around. Things seem to fall, go missing, and electrical appliances seem to act strange and stop working. But Jamie isn't a bad spectre. In fact, he's brought our family closer together, and for that, we've always been thankful and still are. But I really have no clue as to what the hooded man could possibly be.